Pay me more.
Later tonight on TV Hell, a film that examines that special ring-a-ding-ding. A brief history of the Eurovision Song Contest, tonight at 10:10 in TV Hell.
Are you angry now?
No. I'm a little irritated at you, but I'm not angry.
At 10 to 11, Danny Baker uncovers the dark underbelly of TV chat shows. At 11:15, there's Executive Hell, in a documentary that traces the fortunes of TV AM.
It sounds as if this is the end of TV AM.
Don't be silly.
It's the beginning of
Hello and welcome to Mainly for Men, and as the title implies, this is a program, fellas, just for you. For the next half an hour, we've got some very interesting items lined up for you. For instance, we've got some new inventions to show you on the automobile. Then we have a very exciting piece on shark fishing and a few delectable damsels scattered all over the place.
5 to 12, there's Mainly for Men, a throwback to the unreformed 60s. That's TV Hell, tonight and for the rest of eternity. Get out while you can.
It's out today, the new Radio Times.
On the front cover of this week's Radiotum is husband and wife celebrity team Thora and Douglas Hurd take on Giant Haystacks and Clodagh Rogers in the first of a new series of pro-celebrity tag wrestling live from Jamaica. Plus, Lloyd Grossman visits the Elgin Marbles and tells us how and why he stuffed them into his mouth. Plus, there's lots of funny little ads for garden sheds and lifts for old people that go up the banisters. Plus, buried away somewhere, Victor Lewis Smith takes what he thinks is an hilarious look at television logos. Once upon a time, long, long ago, Mr. Photography married Miss Wireless, and soon after they gave birth to a gaggle of bouncing baby television stations. Of course, none of these television stations had any identity of their own, and like all little babies, they cost a fortune, and all turned out nothing but an undifferentiated stream of puke and excrement. So, quick as a flash, God christened them all with their own distinctive logos, so people could tell whose ordure was whose.
Using such advanced state-of-the-art graphic techniques such as cardboard cutouts, tracing paper, some glue and bits of string, these magnificent cultural icons were apparently voiced by members of the royal family.
90s television, Channel 8.
Made great use of regional dialects and relied on methods of animation abandoned by Walt Disney in 1920.
There is a fundamental law of television which states that the grandeur of the logo is in inverse proportion to the importance of the TV station. This was Westwood Television's logo. And these were the not-at-all ship-shape premises of Westwood TV, whose most notable production was
Modern Pig Farmer Today from Westwood.
Modern Pig Farmer Today. The station narrowly missed winning a BAFTA on a technicality. All its programmes had pigs in them. Frankly, the galleon should have been a peddler. Anyway, in reality, Westwood lost its franchise, so its flagship turned out to be the Titanic. But the band played on.
We're playing a song called On.
Curious name for a song, On, but that's what they played. The band played On.
We're playing a song called On. Bull, bull, pig.
Logos attempt to reflect the nature of the region they serve. This gentle animation, for example, suggests rural peace, pastoral tranquility, and...
This is not the time for words.
Oh dear.
It's the time for action.
Oh dear. It was spend, spend, spend with Anglia, like 10 shillings and sixpence, which they recklessly spent on an Airfix kit and a tin of silver paint, sticking the result on a Dansette gramophone turntable. Anglia, known for its tedious survival program about species too stupid to avoid extinction, such as the following, which all lost their franchise. No flowers or sympathy, please. After all, Southern made How and gave Fred Dinage his break.
Why?
Rediffusion was responsible for the Dickie Henderson half hour. And ATV made Crossroads, a show with characters so one-dimensional that when they were shot in profile, they completely disappeared from view. This is an important health warning. Viewers should only view the next logo through the piece of smoked glass which was supplied in this week's Radio Times. Those of you who buy the TV Times will unfortunately now be struck blind. Harlech experimented with this stroboscopic logo in an attempt to induce mass epilepsy in their viewing audience on the principle that any reaction to their programmes was better than none. What an absolute char. They never use those techniques here at BBC Electrical Television, you know. Anyway, good night from continuity. Oh dear, my leg's given out. And a very special good night from in continuity.
You'll find you soon get to know your way around. Do you want a map?
Yes, please. This is a map of Dusseldorf.
Yes, that's right. Oh, do you need to go to the toilet?
Yes, I do, actually.
Excellent. Now, over here we have our Baywatch viewing gallery. Then here is the Murray Walker suite.
What's that down there?
Ah, that's the Beadle wing, still being extended. So we like to start people off just for the first 3 or 4 years.
Oh, my God, what's that noise?
Just a bunch of actors.
Actors?
Yes, all actors end up in TV hell. It's their punishment for not having a proper job in the first place.
Me.
Good evening. Or perhaps I should say, God save you, gentles all. Because tonight we've set up our acting workshop back in the days of Merry England. You know, you can read all the history books and medieval manuscripts you like. But as an actor, I've always felt that if one really cares about one's national heritage and one really wants to celebrate it properly, then there's no better way to do it than to appear in a BBC costume drama. Personally speaking, I think I'd go stark staring bonkers if I couldn't slip into buckram and leather every once in a while. And it's the technique of bringing the turbulent history of our island race to the small screen that we're going to be working on tonight. And where better place to start than with the entrance.
Alarm! Alarm! Section
Her Majesty the Queen.
It's the miller's boy.
Her Majesty the Queen.
My lord.
Hello!
You cretin. Right. We've established the period, we've chosen the beard. Historically speaking, we are now in business. So let's see how we get the story underway with a typical 15th century scene between Henry VII and the Bishop of Cambrai.
I'm told that you wish to see the traitor, Perkin Warbeck.
If you have no objections, my lord.
And how could I object? He's an old friend of yours, after all.
Well, tremendously brave to go for the chicken legs so early on. Fingers crossed they can keep it up. But even more exciting is the sarcastic tone the king uses with the bishop. Of course, talking down to bishops is a fundamental period technique.
You see, my Lord Archbishop, in the last analysis, all matters of principle come down to one man killing another.
You must think more kindly of your tools.
Your tool too, Archbishop.
And you also, my Lord Bishop?
Archbishop, where is Arthur?
My good Archbishop.
To keep your mouth shut.
Well, my Lord Cardinal.
Keith Michel giving splendidly short shrift to a papal legate there. But anyway, back to Perkin Warbeck.
An old acquaintance, then?
He was too arrogant and too unreliable.
The Dowager Duchess presumably thought otherwise.
Well, the decision to go for the chicken legs early is paying huge dividends after all.
Because?
Of course, one shouldn't by any means feel tied to a cold chicken.
Besides, there is a distinct resemblance between Perkin Warbeck and his supposed father, Edward IV.
And so he was acclaimed.
Now, the goblet is an article of enormous historical importance. It's used for toasting, poisoning, carousing, obviously, and as we've just seen, it can help a bishop to restore his tattered dignity. Quite simply, you're nowhere as a period actor unless you can handle a goblet.
Your marriage.
Especially this goblet, which appears from the 12th century right up to the end of the Tudor period.
Excuse me for one moment.
No, Sir Francis, I do not favour these extreme measures.
They are traitors, madam.
A young Saxon wishes to see you. He claims to be the Earl of Huntingdon.
Good night, Archbishop.
So, we've got to grips with the goblet, we've insulted the bishop, and we've had several helpings of cold chicken. Anything else we can do to make a historical scene live? Smashing, Keith. Shall we all have a go?
You know what I mean.
Little bit underpowered there, Glenda, but no matter. Let's hit fast forward now and see how our Perkin Warbeck performers bring the establishing scene to a climax.
The young man allowed his imagination to wander too far from probability.
And yet you still wish to see him.
Now, I honestly don't think you can improve on this. The bishop makes inspired use of the Granny Smith, gets a final put down from the king,
And yet you still wish to see him.
and the scene climaxes with a classic piece of period realism, the rough handling of a young boy. For my money, a roughly handled boy says more about the turbulent climate of the times than any number of dry old facts and figures.
Set over the boy and place them both forward so that they may see how we deal with those who raise their heads against their just masters.
Have mercy, please, have mercy.
They are waiting for you, Master Will.
I've got him. This one's no good. Bring me more boys. Hey, one more boy.
Well, so far we've been dealing mainly with the physical techniques of bringing English history to life. Let's think now about our emotional tools as we move on into the next stage of the plot, rumbling disaffection throughout the land.
England has become a wilderness. Those that serve the nobles are not sure from one day to the next who is up and who is down.
Now, what the actor's done so cleverly here is to deliver the oh-so-familiar upside-down line and yet make it sound totally fresh. Just like the Goblet, if there's one thing that's certain in a period drama, it's that you're going to get an upside-down line.
One king down, another one up.
It's a topsy-turvy world, Cranmer.
Times are topsy-turvy, Cromwell, and men should watch their heads.
Seems the world is turning upside down, Margaret, and us with it.
God a mercy, the world's turned on its head.
The world is turning over, John, and us on top.
Well, we're really sitting on a powder keg now. We've got offended bishops, battered boys, and everything upside down. There's only one possible consequence of so much discontent and turbulence, and it's a fiendishly difficult technique to execute.